right. You guys set me up for this one, and I don't like it. That's right. They set me. Seriously, the problem is, and I'm just giving you a little insider information here. This is something that you normally wouldn't know, but behind the scenes, we have planning meetings. Guess who never shows up to the planning meetings? Hardly.
I wonder.
This idiot.
At Green Square.
So because of that, I get assigned things. And so this time we assigned the Great Game Debate, and they purposely picked a game that I have a shady past with, and that would be Power Grid. So Power Grid, it's from Friedman Freeze. It's a classic game. It's been around for a long time. Daniel, why don't you tell the folks at home how to play Power Grid?
Power Grid is played over multiple rounds. Each round has 5 different phases. The game will eventually end when someone has built enough power plants to trigger the end game. Then whoever is powering the most power plants at the time will win the game. As mentioned, this game will play over several rounds broken up into 5 different phases. The first phase is determined player order. That's important for this game because that's going to depend on when you get to build first and when you get to buy resources first. So essentially most things are done in reverse player order. So if you're winning the game, you're actually going to buy last and build last, giving the people behind an opportunity to catch up. Once player order is determined, we're going to go to the auction phase. Starting with the player in the lead, they have to put up a building up for auction. It has to be in the first row, not from the futures market. So they will put up this one, and the minimum bid has to be the number on there. So the minimum bid for this one would be 3. We go around the table, bidding 1 up, 1 up, 1 up, and then you can pass if you won and you're out of that bidding round, or you can continue to go raise the price. Once everybody has passed, the last person to make the bid will get that. Then we're going to shift the market up and replace it with the lowest market, and then draw another card from the deck. In this case, we would actually put the 7 there, and the 8 would stay in the futures market. After each player has either passed or bought a power plant, we'll move to the next round, which is buying resources. Starting with the person who is trailing, they will get to buy the resources first. It is a great move to actually buy first because the resources only get more expensive as they become more scarce. Each power plant can only hold a certain amount of resources. You can do double of what's printed on the card. So this card could hold 4 coal, nothing, no more than that, and no different resources. You can only buy the resources that you can actually fit on a power plant. Once resources are purchased, then in reverse order, you get to build buildings. So in this case, red is trailing, so he'd be the first one to build. When you build, you have to pay, if you're in the first A, you have to pay 10 currency to place in the city first, and then you have to pay any transaction costs. So this purchase would be 16 because there's a transition of 6 and a building of 10. Now, no one else can build in these cities until the second phase, and then on the third phase, the third person can build into the city. Once everybody has built, we then go to bureaucracy phase, where we get money based on the number of houses we have that we can power. If I have 5 houses but can only power 3, I'm only going to get paid out for 3 of those houses. What's interesting about the bureaucracy phase is that the first houses will give you a lot of money, but the more houses you put on there, your return actually lessens. So you don't want to get too big too fast, or else you might actually spend more money than you actually make. But you always have to balance that with, obviously, you want to be the one with the most houses. But we're going to do this for round after round, and after so many rounds, when somebody passes the threshold, which is based on the number of players, the game will end, and whoever can power the most houses at that point is the winner of Power Grid.
All right, Daniel. Well, thank you for that. So 2 to 6 players, 120 minutes, Friedman Freeze. I got to tell you guys, board game PTSD is real. It is absolutely legit. It is not a fake thing. And I have it with this game. Now, my brother, God bless my brother. He'll never watch this show, so I can talk trash on him. He's a CPA. He's a math guy. And he also has an attitude that's worse than mine, which is saying something. We played this game several times, and here's the thing. If I have somehow, there's an auction mechanic to this game, and so with an auction mechanic, being a person of persuasion that I am, I sometimes try and tilt things a certain way. So if there's somebody else that's playing that maybe doesn't know what's going on, I tell, hey, you want to bet on that one? That one's pretty good. And anyway, I did this in such a way, I was so good at it, it was masterful at my diplomacy, that it screwed my brother, and my brother could tell with several turns to go that there's no way he was going to win because he did all the math in his head. And he was pissed, and he was like, I'm not going to finish the game. I was like, well, what are you not going to finish the game? And he's like, well, I'm not going to win. Why would I finish the game? And so anyway, there's some board game PTSD with this game a little bit. Real problem, honestly, though, with this one for me is that I do feel it is a little bit mathy. It also is not the best looking on the board, on the table. I'm not a big fan of the art. But it's a problem with a lot of Freeman Freeze games. Factory Manager is another game I just want to throw up thinking about it because it's all math, it seems like. I'm not a fan of the game. There's better auction games out there. I'm not a Freeman Freeze guy. I hate to say it, but anyway, that's what I have to say about Power Grid. So is it a great game? No. No, it's not. Daniel?
I got to counter something, Andy. You said that the art is ugly. I'm just going to show this board here. This is beautiful. With the buildings on it, it really pops. You have the resources that go here. This is an attractive board. I have no idea why you think that there's nothing appealing about this.
Now, to be fair,
what do you guys think?
To be fair, I have been criticized in the past.
I'll hold my opinion for my time.
I've been criticized by Chris in the past because I've only played on the North American map, the United States map. So that may be why I'm a little bit jaded against this game.
So you think America's ugly? That's what
yes,
I
that's
do.
What he thinks.
That's right. I'm so anti-American. Anyway.
All right.
It's by far the worst board. But wait, before we go on, there is something I need to point out here. Okay. So yes, I mean, like, it's funny that Daniel actually thinks that the board's pretty. I mean, I wouldn't defend someone that says it's ugly, but I think it's interesting. He likes it, but whatever. But Andy, there is a key part of this story that you have never told the people or us. You did not include the detail that you had sold him diplomatically on buying a power plant that he shouldn't have.
It wasn't him.
This is a problem. You caused this problem. You made him make a bad play, and then he decided, well, screw you. I'm going to quit the game because you screwed me over. That's actually what happened here.
The worst part, it wasn't him. I talked into it. He knows the game, okay? So I couldn't have talked him into it. It was my dad that was playing with us, who's in his 70s.
Gosh.
Wow, Andy. Wow.
No wonder.
Chris is right. Yeah. You have never told us that part, Andy.
Yeah, that detail was key that we've never heard.
Minor detail.
What's crazy about that is you're the one that's like, no table talk, don't tell other people strategy. You're the one that gets all butthurt about that. So that's shocking. I don't blame him. I'd walk away.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Daniel, what do you think about Power Grid?
Well, let me tell you about Power Grid. I feel it is one of the best games that have ever been made. It was a slow burn for me to enjoy this game. Right away, I really enjoyed it. I have to talk about the cover art because it was one of the first games I played when I got into the hobby. And the people told me, "Hey, you got to play this game. It's great, but the art on it is pretty ugly." And who would want to play this game? It's a guy looking at a power grid. And I'm like, that looks incredibly interesting to me. I really want to play this game, but I didn't want to say anything because I was still too new. So Power Grid, it appeals to me from the very beginning. And the more I play it, the more I truly enjoy this game. The auction of the game is kind of one of the best in that genre, I believe. Some of the problems with auction games is you never know how much stuff is valued, but with Power Grid, you know how much money you need to actually power your cities. So when you make when you're doing the auction, you can know how much you can spend. And yes, can someone outbid you on a power plant you really need? Yes, but you need to know when to stop. And I love that tension of that game. I also love, actually, when I played it recently, Chris and my friends, the Evans, they did not remind me, because it was such a long time to play, that you could block people's path. So I thought I blocked off a nice little wall, but then they like shot right past me because they just paid the transition cost. And I was like, wait a second. And I was a little upset about it, but I was okay because I actually ended up winning. That's a whole nother story. But I like that minimal, like you can you can't block people. And at first I was mad, but I actually ended up liking that. I like the openness of the map. And then there's also this. I haven't got to play this yet, but I am incredibly excited to play this. This makes the game kind of a campaign game, changes the rules ever so slightly. Power Grid's great, guys. If you haven't played it and you like any kind of Euro games, you have to try this one. It's a great economic auction game.
They say great minds think alike, but clearly not. Or wait. Oh, wait.
Maybe only one of them's a great mind.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Ooh.
Oh,
Mine's
wait a minute.
beautiful.
Oh, burn. See, were you being sarcastic about the box art? I couldn't tell if you were being sarcastic.
He loves
it's
that
one of
art.
the greatest stories because
You're like,
literally-
oh, I really want to play this. And I'm like, are you joking?
No, I'm not. I don't know why. I will admit, I'm the last person to expect to like something like this. But when I was brand new to the hobby, I saw this. I was like, what is that about? I want to run a power grid. I want to
Oh
control
my
the
gosh.
energy of a nation. Like, that sounds so exciting. And I was like, I want to be this dude, with his knobs, the knob guy. That was me.
That doesn't make
really
any
wanted that.
sense to Marvel superhero Daniel. That makes no sense whatsoever. But
I know. I'm an
and
enigma.
the box shape is off.
Rapid.
You think that would bother you?
It
All
does
right, are you
now.
done?
I wish it was different, but it's fine. It sits on the very top of my shelf.
Yeah,
so
now you're
there's a
getting
nice
into
little
my
gap
territory.
there.
So,
Dan-
The box,
John,
the box
go ahead.
shape only bothers simple minds.
John, what do you think?
okay, so first of all, I'm going to cut to the chase that it is not a great game. It's not. It's a classic old game that people that haven't played many games might enjoy. But there's many reasons why I say that. Number one is you hit on it. The box, it's ugly and it's shaped weird. It's not going to look good on your shelf. Number two, though, just thematically, from a thematic standpoint. Okay, I'm in the United States. I'm building cities so that I can then run energy to them. And I'm building Boston, but then someone else will build Boston again, and then somebody else will build Boston again. It's Boston. It says Boston right there. Anyway, that just is weird. But then, beyond all that, I don't see how. I've heard people playing these games for hours on end, and I don't see how. We played a 6-player game where most of the people had never played it, and it was a 2-hour game with the teach. However, that was the good thing about it. It doesn't get old, but it should be called Power Grind, not Power Grid, because the game is a grind. It's okay. I'm going to do this again, and we're going through the whole session again, and I'm going to do it again. Then we're going to go through the whole session again, and I'm going to do it again. And basically, if you find yourself in last place, like this kid did, because I'm last person to pick where to put my starting point, so all the good spots were gone, and then I missed one chance to cut somebody off. So there went the game. They were going to win, and we knew that 3 turns in, but. Because if they know what they're doing, there's no way you're going to catch them. If you're trying to catch somebody that knows how to play the game, then your brother's right. The game is over. You may as well not play anymore. You're playing for 3rd, 4th, 5th place, what have you. And really, I don't know if who was in what place changed much the time we played. It was 1st through 6th, pretty much every round. So, but that being said, some people that played that were casual gamers really enjoyed it. They had never played it before, and they thought it was really fun. Didn't mind that they never had a chance to win, but with me, I'd like to have a chance to win, and I'd have a chance to at least do something. Are you supposed to table talk in this game? Is that what you're supposed to do? Because when we just said you're not supposed to do that, but I mean, it seems like that's what you have to do. If somebody is in first place, you almost have to do something and gang up on them in some way, shape, or form. But you're limited. That person's way over in Oregon. They can't do anything to stop them.
John,
so what I tried to do was buy a bunch of the resources, so everybody would have to buy them more expensively. Didn't help because they had so much. Here's the big flaw. They had so much money, it didn't matter. But
I spent the first 30 episodes. The first 30 episodes around the board booing you, but my friend.
Oh, there we go. Thank you.
This is for you.
Here's what I would change in the game. When you at the beginning of the game, when you get money for powered cities, correct? You get that much money for your income, and it starts out as like 10 for each one, and it goes down to like at the end it'll be like 2 if you have a whole bunch of them. That should be reversed, in my opinion. Because that's such a huge advantage at the beginning. Somebody has 2 more cities than you, 3 turns in. I don't care how much that's going for. I'll take the nuclear power plant. I'll take that. I'm like, well, if I take that, I can't afford anything to power my plant. So yeah, you're going to take it. That seems to be the way the game is early on. Maybe I'm wrong, but that was the way it was with us. The rich got richer, the poor sat there and waited to finish in 5th or 6th.
And I agree completely. I didn't get to that point, but that is absolutely true. I feel like if you're ahead if you're a couple turns in and someone's ahead, there's no catch-up mechanic. There's nothing. You're just screwed. And you said, by the way, they can't block people, Daniel. They can block them. It's just, in essence, they're blocking them economically because it costs so much to go beyond the section to the other section. So there is a block.
To industry. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, it doesn't make a good board game.
I see why Chris likes this game, though.
But now, okay,
I'd rather die of the black lung.
I think I'm getting the black lung, Bob.
There is a point that I forgot to make that, John, you kept hitting, but in the wrong direction. This game is super clever in the fact that if you are in first the whole game, you will likely lose. It is a game that you are trying to position yourself to be in second or third and shoot up to first at the right moment. So, John, the fact that somebody ran away with it tells you how bad you guys must have played, because that is not how Power Grid plays.
So wait, are you saying it's a racing game? Sounds like you're drafting.
Race the second.
Hey, Chris, bring us home with how glorious this game is.
All right. So, 2 things. First of all, you guys both played on America's map. There is nothing I am less American about than Power Grid and its map. You never play America. It is the worst map, possibly of any game out there. Don't do it. Never play the side. Play the Germany side or one of the a million expansions. Don't play America. It's bad. With that said, this game, as many of you have been on the show, watched the show for a while, thank you for tuning in as always. And you already know that this is my number 1 game, and I didn't know it was my number 1 game until we started this show. Over time, it kind of came to me. I realized, started looking at everything, and I was like, you know what? This is my favorite game. This is a game that I'm realistically going to suggest as much as possible. You know, you got to try new games sometimes. I know. But anyways, I'm going to suggest this every single time. I'm never going to turn down a game. So based on BGG alone, it is a 10, straight 10. Like these morons are talking about, the problems with it are its features. This is the exact, like they were saying, these are bugs. These are features. These are features of the game. Yes, if you get out ahead, you have its self catch-up mechanic of how everything's in reverse order of buying the resources based on how many cities you have and everything like that. You can't. There are situations where you do have to block each other, and like not so much as table talk, but like there are times where someone has to fall on the grenade a bit of buying a power plant they don't want to make sure that the guy in the lead doesn't just run away with it. This is a game that is not. It's not an easy game the first play. You don't just set it up and things work. It's not just Earth where you just showered with points. Like you actually have to have like some agency and some brain power to play this game. And it gets better based on multiple plays because there's so much meta to this game. This is a game also, by the way, I led with the fact that it's my favorite game. I hated this game, by the way, for years because I came up with some just brilliant people and they just wrecked me. And I just could not wrap my mind around how to play the game, how to bridge the gap and stuff like that. It took me years and years. And then eventually I finally saw the light. And now I'm where I'm at. A long time ago, I decided I love the game. But it's not a family game. It's not a family game. It takes some brain power. I'm sorry that you two don't have it.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute here. Hey, just easing the tension, baby.
If you're not going to say anything, I'll go.
This is a highly divisive game. And here's the deal. So if I'm going to play a route building game, I would play so many other things than this. If I want to play an auction game, I would play so many other things than this. This just fails on so many levels. It's mediocre at best.
What I think this is like Chris's Catan. I mean, I was, broke my teeth. Is that what they call it? Cut my teeth on Catan. Didn't break my teeth on Catan. And Catan never gets old for me. Like I say, people point out the problems with it, and to me, they're features, just like Chris says, because I love the game and I'll still play it to this day. Love playing Catan. But I understand if you weren't raised that way on it, that, yeah, you're going to see the problems with it. You're going to say, heck with it, I'll do something else. I'm not going to play this. That's the way people that didn't, get raised on Power Grid are going to feel about Power Grid. I'm sorry, we're going to see the flaws as flaws, not as features.
I mean, I guess I can see
Yeah.
that, but like I even agree. I can agree with the flaws that people have with Catan. I still can't see those flaws with Power Grid. It's just so good. But
I'd rather do
Point
the
out a
auction and
little,
stockpile. I'd rather do the route
yeah.
building in Hansa Teutonica.
I love
Yeah.
both those games, and it's a no.
Yeah, this is the cleanest auction because you can only have 3 cards at any given time. So like even if you didn't get the one you want, kind of the next wave of the game, you will almost have first dibs because now somebody who got stuck in the middle age essentially and got like the best one, they're kind of stuck with that one and they can't get rid of it because they spent a lot on it, which then frees you up to take in that third age like the better power plants. So it has a good cadence to it. You guys just don't know what you're doing. But I got to point out, Chris kind of gave me he kind of insulted me there. He said he played with brilliant people and hated the game, but lately he saw the genius in it.
Because he's playing with
this
you.
As soon as I
dummy.
joined this
Okay.
group, I was
Playing
like,
with
"This
you.
game's great."
That's right. All right, guys. Well, this might be right up there with Keyflower as one of our most controversial games on the show. So what do you think? Does Power Grid stand up over the test of time? Is it a great game? Tell us how you feel about the debate in the comments below. And thank you, as always, for liking and subscribing. Let's continue the program.
Thank you so much for watching it in this video. If you'd like to watch the full episode, check out the description below. Around the Board is a board game video podcast where we talk about board games and other board game related topics. We assign points to one another based on our banter, and then at the end of the show, whoever has the most points is given a small amount of time to talk about whatever they like. So if you enjoyed it, please join us in the future around the board.